Sports betting has always fascinated me. The way odds shift, the way lines move, and the way one smart wager can change an entire bankroll in a matter of hours. It is the same rush as a good poker hand or a risky investment. But until recently, I never committed much money to it. That changed one Friday afternoon when I decided to put just $20 into my betting account to see what would happen over the course of the weekend. What followed was a string of wagers. Some made on instinct, others calculated through research that ultimately grew my modest $20 deposit into $200 by Sunday night. The weekend started with college football. I had been following a matchup between a mid-major underdog and a ranked team that I believed was overrated. The line was set at plus 7.5 for the underdog, and I felt confident they could at least keep it close. With my bankroll just starting, I put down $5 on them to cover. The game went almost exactly as I had hoped. The underdog's defense held strong, the favorites struggled to execute in the red zone, and when the final whistle blew, the underdog lost by only 3 points. That first $5 turned into $9.50. Wasn't life-changing, but it was a crucial start because I now had a little cushion to work with. That evening, I shifted to NBA basketball. The Lakers were playing a back-to-back on the road, and I noticed their opponent had been dominant at home when given rest. The Lakers were slight favorites at minus 2.5, but I had a feeling fatigue would catch up to them. I put $7 on the home underdog money line at plus 120. The game was back and forth until the fourth quarter, when the home team's bench unit lit it up from the three-point range. The upset was complete, and my $7 wager turned into $15.40. Suddenly, my total bankroll had jumped to just over $24, and the possibilities opened up. By Saturday morning, I felt more confident. With football dominating the schedule, I turned to parlay. Parlays are risky. Stringing multiple results together requires everything to go right, but they can pay out generously if done carefully. I identified 2 games I liked, a heavy favorite that I believed was almost guaranteed to win outright, and a toss-up game where I liked the underdog spread at plus 4. Combining the two gave me odds of roughly plus 260. I wagered $5. The first game was never in doubt. The favorite cruised to victory. The second game gave me nerves, with the underdog trailing by 10 at halftime, but a second-half rally got them within 3 points by the end. Both legs hit, and my $5 turned into $18. This brought my bankroll to around $37. I decided not to get greedy immediately, so I took a break until that night's primetime college football showdown. This one was highly anticipated. 2 top-ranked teams battling with playoff implications on the line. I didn't want to risk too much, so I placed $10 on the over at 54.5 points. Both teams had explosive offenses, and I felt the bookmakers were underestimating just how quickly the pace would escalate. From the first quarter, it was clear I was on the right side of the bet. Touchdowns came fast and often, and by the middle of the third quarter, the combined score had already reached 55. The rest of the game was just a formality. That $10 became $19.10, and my bankroll now stood at $46. On Sunday morning, I entered the NFL slate with momentum and confidence. I decided to raise the stakes. One of my favorite strategies in football betting is targeting player props, especially rushing or receiving yard totals, because sometimes the lines don't fully account for matchups. In one early game, a running back I had been tracking was set at 58.5 rushing yards. The opposing defense had one of the worst rush defenses in the league, so I jumped in with $15 on the over. He broke off a 35-yard run in the first quarter and ended the day with 92 yards. That bet returned $28.60, pushing me past the $60 mark. By the afternoon slate, I felt like I was playing with house money. I decided to roll a part of my winnings into a riskier wager, a 3-leg parlay involving 2 favorites to win outright and 1 underdog at plus 150. I placed $10, knowing the payout could be big. The first 2 games fell into place easily, with the favorites winning by comfortable margins. The underdog game, however, was a nail-biter. Down by 4 points with less than 2 minutes left, their quarterback led a miraculous drive, capping it with a touchdown pass that sealed the win. When the final score came through, my parlay cashed for $56.50. My total balance now soared to over $100, and I still had the Sunday night game ahead. For the nightcap, I decided to go bold. My confidence was high, and I didn't want to end the weekend cautiously. The game featured a powerhouse team heavily favored at minus 6.5, but I felt the underdog had more than enough firepower to cover. I put $25 on the underdog against the spread. The game unfolded just as I had envisioned. The underdog's offense kept pace, their defense forced a couple of turnovers, and although they didn't win, they only lost by 3. My $25 turned into $47.75, and by the end of the game, my bankroll had crossed $150. At this point, I had one more decision to make. I could call it a weekend, cash out and be happy with multiplying my bankroll more than 7-fold. But I had one bet left in me, and I wanted to aim for a clean 200. I scanned the odds for the late-night NBA game on the West Coast. The over-under was set at 221.5, and both teams were known for fast pace and limited defense. I decided to risk $30 on the over. The game was electric from the start, both teams trading baskets at a frantic pace. By the start of the fourth quarter, the total had already reached 200. With 6 minutes left, a barrage of three-pointers pushed the total past 221.5, and I celebrated as my $30 turned into $57.30. That final wager pushed my total weekend balance to just over $200. What made the experience satisfying wasn't just the money, it was a progression. I never once risked my entire bankroll on a single bet. I mixed conservative wagers with riskier parlays, used both spreads and totals, and sprinkled in player props to diversify. Each win built momentum for the next, and I resisted the temptation to chase when I could have easily lost focus. By the end, the $20 I deposited on Friday had become $200 by Sunday night, a tenfold increase in just 3 days. Of course, it's important to acknowledge the other side of the coin. This story could have easily gone another way. Every bet I placed carried risk, and luck played its part as much as research or instinct did. There were moments, a missed field goal, a late touchdown, a last-minute rally, where things could have swung against me. Sports betting is unpredictable, and weekends like this are the exception, not the rule. Still, it proved that with a bit of discipline, some smart picks, and a willingness to take calculated risks, it's possible to grow even the smallest bankroll into something meaningful in a short span of time. When I cashed out my winnings, I didn't immediately jump back in. Instead, I took the $200 as a reminder of what's possible, both the highs of betting and the discipline it requires. For me, the real takeaway wasn't the money itself, but the experience of managing risk, spotting value, and staying focused. Turning $20 into $200 in one weekend was exhilarating. And more importantly, it showed me that success in betting, like success in anything, comes from patience, smart decisions, and knowing when to step away. That was all from us today for this video, folks. For more similar content, make sure to check our video on how to save money by paying less taxes. See you in the next one.